Tim Connolly drums. Well, as you could see in my thumbnail and my title, sometimes you've got to be a little bit leery of some of the gigs that you get and or take. Now, you have to understand first off that the gig that I was offered was a very strange gig in the sense that it was inside of and with the Church of Scientology. I'm not a Scientologist, and as a matter of fact, I'm not religious at all. So my agent contacts me and says, Tim, please hear me out, don't interrupt me, let me explain this gig offer. So, well, backstep first. Sometimes agents, there's band agents and there's individual agents. I have both. I have an agent that books me to do studio, subbing, sideman stuff. And then I have agents that book bands that I play in as well. So I don't deal with the band agents anymore because I don't actually run a band currently, but I still deal with agents that book individual things. So he wants me to hear him out because he's thinking that if I don't hear him out in its entirety, his story, his pitch, then I'm just going to turn him down. He says to me that he's got a gig for me at the Church of Scientology in Toronto. And I'm like, what? The Church of Scientology? I'm like, look, man. He says, wait. Before you say no, hear me out. It paid really well, way above what I normally would get. And I think that they sort of made this offer because they really needed somebody to play the drums. Now, it turns out it was at one of their social events, and it was a Beatles tribute. They didn't have a drummer for the Beatles tribute. They had no opportunity to rehearse somebody and get somebody within their church. So I guess they contacted an agent, which happened to be mine, and said, look, we need a drummer that knows Beatles songs and can come in and play them without rehearsing. So he contacted me because I played in numerous Beatle tributes and I'm very familiar with pretty much their entire catalog. So he offers me this gig, and I'm going to be honest, I took it because of the money. It paid well, but it made me nervous because I really don't want nothing to do with Scientology or really any religious groups, to be totally honest. Anyways, I signed the contract and I agreed to do the gig, but it was one of those things where I was nervous leading up to the day. So the day arrives, and of course I get instructions on what to do when I get there, where to load in, where to go, all that stuff. So I drive to Toronto, I get to the Scientology church, it was in the main part. It was like on Yonge Street or like a main area in Toronto. It was busy. Thank God, luckily, I was able to get inside the church's parking lot without any issues because they have security even in their parking lot. I just explained my situation, that I'm a musician, hired musician for a performance that day. So they knew about me coming. So no problems getting into the parking lot. Then I got greeted by somebody from the church, and it turned out to be the keyboard player in the session or the performance. And he guides me in. I bring all my stuff in. So at first, it's just a perfectly normal gig, actually very helpful. The people were quite helpful. People helped me bring my gear in. They turned into roadies, which is always awesome. So I brought my Beatles replica drum kit in there. And I started setting up. While I was setting up, there was other people around me setting up, so I got to meet, those singers. There was a bunch of singers. Actually, they had like guest singers that were going to be performing. It was a large area to play in, and it was a fairly large crowd that we were going to be playing to. So far, so good. Seemed like a pretty decent gig. Anyways, I finally get set up, and then they decide, hey, listen, we've got a little bit of time. We actually got set up pretty quick. Let's run through a few of the tunes. No problem. So they tell me what songs we're going to do. Now, we actually, for what I got paid, which was a lot of money, I only did 8 songs. So a score in that sense. As a matter of fact, you know, when it comes to playing music that I really, really love, like I love the Beatles and I love playing their music, I would have played way more than 8 songs, without a doubt. But they only wanted me to play these 8 songs. They gave me a set list. Do you know these songs? Yeah, I knew them all. And away we go. So we run through the tunes. Everything goes really smooth. They knew their parts. Plus, they had some sheet music for the keyboardist to use. And it went really well. We ran the tunes down. Rehearsal's good. Okay, this is where things now start to get weird. Rehearsal's done, and they say that the crowd's going to be showing up soon. You know, we need to leave the stage area or whatever. So we leave the stage area, and I can remember I was kind of hiding behind my drums. I left the stage area for a while, but then I came back to the stage, and there was somebody on stage, and they were talking to the crowd. And it was a large crowd. Like, I couldn't believe how many people showed up for this. And then, like I said, it was only 8 songs. I found out it wasn't just 8 songs, it was a service. And it was the weirdest thing I've ever been involved in. I'm not going to get into details of the service because I don't think the Church of Scientology would like me to do that. But I will say that at the beginning, they all played their homage to their leader, Hubbard, something Hubbard. And he's the guy that started this church, and they all did their little chants and prayers and everything to him. And like I said, I was kind of hiding behind my drum kit off stage. The crowd couldn't see me where I was positioned, but so they go through talking, and they're thanking members, and they're thanking people, and they're doing their religious service. I don't know what the leader is called. It's not a priest or a minister. I don't know what they're called, but they get up there and they do their thing. Now, how the Beatles got involved in this, I don't know. I'm just guessing that people just like their music. I was also kind of surprised that they were playing secular music, non-Scientology music. That kind of surprised me too. But anyways, like I said, I'm getting paid, I'm performing, whatever. So finally comes time to, now we're going to introduce the band. So they introduce the band. It's my turn. I get up there, you know, we play our songs. The songs actually went really well. The performance was fine. Basically, they were standard Beatle tunes, and they didn't really alter the arrangements because they couldn't really. When they're playing with a hired gun who's just coming in, and I know the original arrangements, they couldn't really alter any of the arrangements. If they did alter the arrangements, though, I was getting cues from the keyboard player. He was the band director. I was getting cues from him the whole time. He was great, actually. And all that went really well. Now, I'm going to tell you something, though. I was very nervous about recruitment because one thing that these religious groups like to do is they like to get people signed up for their program. I have zero interest in that. I'm there to play, get paid, and leave. And I was kind of nervous the whole time. Not about playing. I've dealt with those nerves a long, long time ago. It's got nothing to do with nerves. It's got to do with the fact that I'm involved in a religious group, and I really want nothing to do with them other than work. So, you know, play the 8 songs. We ended up doing a 9th, which an encore songs. The crowd really enjoyed it. We did an encore tune, and it was I Saw Her Standing There. Standard Beatle tune, great song to end with because it was high energy. Anyways, show ends, you know, crowd responds, we do an encore. After the encore, standing ovation. Awesome, great crowd, a lot of fun. Show's over. So in the show's over, of course, I can't just start tearing down because I'm going to be honest, I wanted out of there. But I wanted to get paid too. So they said to me, yeah, there's going to be food for the band and you can have something to eat. And I was debating about whether or not I really wanted to do that. Again, the nerve thing's kicking in. And I don't know, they were trying to make me feel comfortable, but I was uncomfortable. There's no doubt about that. And I think they could sense it, because not long after the show was over, they presented me with an envelope with the cash for the gig, which I was thrilled to get. And I had to wait for the crowd to leave, but because it's a church service, they don't exactly leave too quickly. So while I'm sort of waiting and they're telling me, yeah, come on in this room, I'm like, oh no, here we go. Here we go. I go in this room, all these people are chanting and doing these weird things that I don't even understand. And I was getting extremely uncomfortable and I wanted nothing to do with this. So I, instead of just sort of hiding it, I just went up to the band leader and I said, look, dude, I'm not interested in any of the religious aspects of this in any way, shape, or form. I'm not interested in recruitment. I don't want to become a Scientologist. I was here paid to work. I did my thing. You graciously paid me. I would like to grab my drums and leave. And he said, yeah, sure, no problem. Just wait for the crowd to dissipate a little bit. In the meantime of the crowd dissipating, yeah, there was a few people talking to me, but they were from the band and they're like, tell us about your Beatles tribute and blah, blah, blah. Okay, no problem. And then things took a weird little spin. Suddenly, I get invited into another area of the church where they want to talk to me about the way my thoughts and whatever and how I felt about what we did today. I didn't want anything to do with it. You put me in this room and I just was kind of not fighting, but definitely saying to them, look, I just want to get my drums and mosey on. Oh, no problem. We understand. No problem. We just want to talk to you for a few minutes. So they took me in this room and they're talking to me, but they're not. I know exactly what's going on. They're playing head games with me. And they're trying, oh, how long have you played drums? And, oh, you're really great, and blah, 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 all this crap. But I know what's coming. What's coming is, hey, are you interested in joining up? Well, what ended up happening was, and they didn't detain me. I want to make this clear. At no time was I in a locked room, detained, you're staying, nothing like that. It was all by invitation. I did willingly go, but not really, you know what I mean? Like, it was one of those uncomfortable, yeah, okay, I'll go with you. Anyways, I see the door open, somebody comes in. They leave the door open because they're moving some things in and out. In that moment of the door being open, and like I said, it was never locked to the best of my knowledge. It was never locked, I was never detained, but in that moment of the door being open, I thought, this is my chance, I'm out of here, because I can't deal with this. Because I know what's coming. Yes, they're chatting with me, it's normal, but I know what's coming. The recruitment spiel, which I just didn't want to have to deal with in any way, shape, or form. So, door opens, I bolt. I just said, see ya, I'm grabbing my stuff. I even contemplated literally just leaving. That's how uncomfortable I was starting to feel, like leaving my drums behind. But I couldn't, they're my treasured, Beatles replica Ringo kit. Ludwig, beautiful maple drums. So I go in on the stage and the crowd is still there. I don't care. I start tearing down and all of a sudden one of the ladies that was in that room with me, she wasn't asking me questions, but she was just in the room. Oh, Tim, there you are. We were looking for you. I'm like, look, I'm out of here. I'm grabbing my stuff. I'm out of here. Oh, let us help. And I'm like, like I said, they helped me coming in. But I'm worried that my stuff is going to go disappearing. You got to remember, my thoughts are racing at this point because I just don't know what's going to happen. And I didn't want things to go really weird for me. So anyways, they end up, some of the younger people end up coming out once I'm all loaded up and took my stuff out to the car. Once again, the lady comes out and says to me, hey, Tim, you should stick around, and like I said, we're going to serve some food, and we really like to talk to you. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry, but I got another gig to go to, which actually wasn't a lie. because this was a afternoon kind of a thing, and I did have a gig that night, so I actually wasn't lying, but I was very, very uncomfortable. And I got my money, I got my drums, I load up in the vehicle, and I just say, I'm out of here. Now, in the process of getting out, there's a gate. I didn't notice it on my way in, and I'm like, oh no, am I gonna be trapped at this gate? Go to the security guy, they got a security guy there, you know, and he says, just hold on 1 second. And I'm like, oh no. So he gets on the phone, makes a phone call. I can't hear what he's saying. He's just talking. Unbelievably, to my luck, he opens the gate. And I get out. I'm out on Yonge Street. I'm gone. Now, some of you are thinking, well, they really didn't do anything. You're right. They really didn't do anything. They never locked me in a room. They never did anything against my will. I never got dragged. They actually never physically talked to me about the religion. But I knew it was coming. Plus, I'm sure you can understand just the uncomfortableness I was feeling of the whole thing. I agreed to the gig. I agreed to the playing. I did not agree to the spiel. They were kind to me. They were good to me. But because of my mental state of being so nervous in terms of the whole religious spiel thing, I just wanted out of there. Now, it's not just limited to Scientology. I don't want nothing to do with any religious spiel. I'm not interested on my channel in politics or religion. I stay away from that. It's the plague. So I do not talk about that at all, except in this here video when I talk about it in terms of playing a gig for the Scientology, the Church of Scientology. Now, if you're in the Church of Scientology, that's your business. If you're in any religious group, that's your business. I don't care. It's just not something that I am interested in. On my way home from that gig, I just decided that while, like I said, nothing actually happened negative to me, the nervousness and the uncomfortableness that I felt I never want to feel again, I won't be doing that gig again just because of what it did to me emotionally. It was difficult, and I was on my own too. It wasn't like I brought a band in there or something and I had guys to turn to. I was on my own, so that's another element of it as well. But I drove home, I called the agent, and the agent asked me how the gig went. You know, I had to pay him his fee out of my wage because he booked it. So of course you got to pay your agent 10%. People, always pay your agent. Don't screw your agent. Always pay your agent. So I explained to him exactly what I'm explaining to you now, but I did tell him, don't book me for any more of those kind of gigs. I'm not interested in being involved in that situation. So anyways, that's my Church of Scientology story. I want to remind you guys about my last video I just put out. If you want to spend an hour with me doing a drum lesson, doing some technique on a pad, if you want to talk to me, you want to ask me questions, you want to hear more stories, individually, I got so many stories. I mean, I'm continuing to put the videos out. I got more and more stories coming. But if you just want to hang out with me, there's no pressure. You don't have to play drums if you don't want to. You can just watch me demonstrating things, playing things, whatever. But it's really easy to book the hour time slot with me, and I got lots of time slots. Now, early September is not the best time if you want me to drum just because of the hand situation. Let's wait a little bit drumming wise for the hand to heal up a little bit more, but I'll be back at it, people. I'm renewed, I'm reinvigorated, and I'm ready to get back to the drums. This hand is healing well. I just got home from the nurse, actually. I had an appointment at 8 a.m. this morning because they have to change the bandage every day, and the wound looks good. It's an open wound, so they have to pack it, so it's not stitched or anything. The wound looks good, it's healing. I got some movement. I'm starting to feel good. I'm starting to bounce back. When you're, like I said before, when you have the heart and soul of a musician, it's really hard when it's taken away and you can't play. I'm going to be back soon though. I start teaching next week when school starts, and I'm going to be back to the grind. I'm going to be putting out lots of videos. So if you're interested in that hour, go check out the link. I'll put a link in this video too, and you can book an hour with me. I look forward to meeting you guys. As always, keep drumming. See ya.